for the time being, even though the overall trajectory is to the upside, right now, from now till September of 2021, I'm expecting more downside to come right now, unfortunately. So the play would be, if you're focusing on this upward trend support line right here, we came down in March 2020, bounced off it to the upside, consolidated from July to August of 2020 as well, right here, and then came down on December 2020 as well, bounced up to the upside, and then came down, bounced off the moving average and support line in May of 2021. Yes, there was a false breakout here. This is just going to be a quick preview video for this, and I'm going to cover the next few trading days in this video. But for the quick preview in terms of the downside and September and all that stuff and the price points, what we could expect when we're coming down, I'm going to be releasing a way more detailed video tomorrow, July 6th, 2021, or on July 7th, 2021 on the Wednesday. Most likely be Wednesday. I apologize for the delay, but it's going to be extremely helpful video if you're looking to average down and all that stuff or enter a position. For me, I do own shares in BlackBerry. Even though I'm expecting it to go down, you can't time the market, you can't time a stock. So I'm not going to be selling at this price point to enter lower. I think that's extremely risky because anything could happen. The patent sales could be announced, which I'm not expecting to be announced anytime soon yet. I think there is a potential it could be announced before earnings because the deal is so massive. But let's just say if it was announced tomorrow and you sold or announced in the next few trading days, but you sold tomorrow, then you would have missed out on a massive run because it's in my opinion, going to be definitely reversing to the upside. And then essentially what I'm expecting to do is, like I stated with this upward trend support line right here, expecting it to come down to bounce up the upward trend support line right here. The same play that we saw from the January 2021 high spike up to the upside, and it started coming down. Yes, there was spike ups in the meantime, and then coming down and spike up again, all stuff, but ultimately coming down to the upward trend support line to bounce back up to the upside. So just to visually show, in essence, yeah, we'll see some spike ups, stuff like that, etc., etc. But then by the end of September, I'm expecting to hit the upward trend support line and then reversing back up to the upside with a decent earnings, but mainly because of the patent sale. I'm expecting that patent sale I'm pretty confident it's going to come out in the next earnings. Quick disclaimer before I continue with the preview and the next few trading days, I'm not a financial advisor. I'm not a professional. Everything I do share with you is just my opinion. It is not advice. So please do your own due diligence and research before buying and selling. Now, today is July 5th, 2021. It did close. Today in the US markets, it was closed, but in Canadian markets, it was open, and BlackBerry stock was up almost 2%. So now, July 6th, 2021, next trading day, it is anticipated that it will be up a little bit during the opening bell, and hopefully holds those gains and goes up, continues to the upside. Closed on July 2nd, 2021. Last trading day was $11.99. Now, in terms of the quick preview first, before I get that next few trading days, is if it were to play out the way I said it was going to play out and come down in terms of end of September and bounce up to the upside, then you're looking at essentially getting down to, at a certain point, it's going to take a while, but to $10 price point, which is unfortunate. Again, I do own shares in BlackBerry. Extremely optimistic for long term. The trajectory for the long term looks like it's doing well, like I showed earlier in part of the video, and it's still going up, but there will be times there will be hiccups to go to the downside. Now, if it does it quicker, then we'll see like $9.80, $9.50 potentially. It all depends on how quick it drops. If it drops right now in the next few trading days and just let's just say it went really quick, the only problem is this is the issue though. So if it went down, if it dropped really quick, we could see 888. The problem is there's a lot of good support where even like the low $9 would hold. But let's just say if it following the graph and everything, we could see 888, 883, and then bounce off the upward trend support line. The unfortunate part is, in theory, the support line should hold, but I've seen too many times if the stock drops dramatically, the momentum is so strong that this upward trend support line, in my opinion, will not hold. We would have to rely on these moving averages. But I probably should not even technically go over that because that is not a concern, because literally for it to drop that fast, like something drastic would have to happen. Either the markets are collapsing and then some bad mixed in with bad news for BlackBerry stock, because even if the markets were going down, it would have to be with BlackBerry with bad news, because the support line I think would hold and it would still trickle down pretty quickly. Let me just visually show. So it would still trickle down pretty quickly because BlackBerry won't hold on its own with no good news. But I think it would be like trickling down here where we would see like 950 instead of the 883. It would have to be mixed in with bad news and the market's going down to hit 888, 883. But again, I could be wrong. This is all just my opinion. But that's the quick overview based off the upward trend support line and where we're going to meet and a little bit of the prices. Again, we could reverse up to the upside, but for the time being, in terms of next few trading days, it's going to look pretty decent because, again, we still have good support. So it doesn't necessarily have to go down, but if you're a long-term investor and looking to average down, what I'm doing personally, again, like I said, I'm not going to sell this position to buy lower. I'm not going to do that. I'm just waiting. I'm willing to wait with my financials on the extra cash on the side to buy lower if it does go lower. That's what I'm expecting to do, and I'm just going to wait. That's what I'm going to do. But again, to each their own. You can do what you want. But in terms of the next few trading days, we have the downward trend resistance line right here that you can see it kept us down on June 2nd, 2021. We went up to it, couldn't pass it. We had multiple like false breakouts and all that stuff, but it just kept on coming back down. You can see right here, got knocked down as well, got knocked down as well, got knocked down as well. We do have a support level right here, but this is only 2 touch points. The reason why I'm mentioning only 2 touch points, because usually you want at least 3 touch points to make sure it's like a real resistance line or real support line and all that stuff. But either way, I'm including it because it could be in play. Upward trend support line right here. And because in terms of Canadian markets, it was up 2%, I believe that the U.S. markets, when they open, they're going to try to catch up in terms of price point. So it's going to pass this moving average. So these moving averages right here, in my opinion, will probably act as resistance because they coincide with a bunch of horizontal resistance levels plus this downward trend resistance level as well. So you can see this moving average right here. By the time we get to this downward trend resistance line, that's going to keep us down again probably. It's just they're meeting up where it's going to be guaranteed knocked down in my opinion. But not necessarily guaranteed, but in my opinion, it would be knocked down. So this first moving average, I don't think it's going to cause issues, but technically it says $12.08, $12.11 around that range. But because the Canadian market was open and it was up almost 2%, I don't think that's going to cause issues. The next level is $12.24. That might cause us issues. I'm pretty confident that the 1240 to 1260 price point range is going to cause this issue. It's technically more the 1240 to 1250 mid range, but the reason why I'm including 1260 is because by the time we meet this downward trend resistance line and the moving average, it coincides in 1255, maybe 1260. So let's just say if we spiked up dramatically right off the bat, yeah, we're probably going to get knocked down at 1252, 1255, 1248, and all that stuff. So to pass all these levels is quite difficult. After the $1240 to $1260 price point, we're going to have issues at the $1283. I can't remember the other price point because these are in terms of horizontal resistance. I forgot what it was exactly, but essentially $1290, I guess it was. You can see $1290 right here. It could have been $1290. I apologize. I should have double checked. But then after that, the $13.11 is going to cause us issues. But another good sign is if you pass 1360 range. You can see right here, just to visually show for the upside, because I want to cover the downside as well. 1360 right here, you can see it spiked up and could not pass. It said 1358 on the side, but 1360 right here got knocked down. So spiked up 1360, and then right about here too as well, around the same price point horizontally, if I could get it right. But yeah, and then it acts as support too. So 1360 would be a good indication that we're going to continue to the upside, but it's going to be quite difficult. And I'll explain further because there's a lot of the problem is there's a lot of resistance to the upside. It's going to be hard to reverse the upside, and if we do see signs of it reversing to upside, I'll provide a more detailed video in terms of what levels we need to break to the upside. But in the meantime, we need to pass first of all $13.11 and then 1360 mainly. In general sense, 1240 to 1260. That's going to be a major task on its own, and then after that the 1283 and 1290 range. But I digress. Main focus is this right now. In terms of the downside, now if it were to drop, which I'm not expecting it to drop, especially for July 6th, is if it were to drop, we would drop down to the 1150 range. Now 1150 range is not really crazy horizontal support level, but the reason why I'm including it is because if you include this upward trend support level right here, it coincides with if it dropped just right off the bat, 1148, 1150 range. So there could be a good support there. Now the next level of support after that is 1127 in terms of horizontal levels, but it's actually really good support. But even if it drops down to low $11 price point, there is really good support at the low $11 price point. So I wouldn't be too concerned. Again, just back to the last parts where I explained the drop. I'm not expecting it to drop quickly. It will drop over time and have spike ups and all that stuff. So overall, it's going to be a gradual drop if I'm correct. I hope I'm wrong, though. Hopefully just reverse the upside and just start flying. But I just wanted to show information just in case if it does play out like that. Now, in terms of that's the low price point, but if you're looking for a potential breakout, I would expect that we might just be doing nothing all the way until July 8th. The reason why I'm saying that is because we're stuck between this downward trend resistance line and this upward trend support line. Again, only two touch points, but if you were thinking that it's probably just going to stay in between and then not get knocked down, and let's just say just keep going like this, then by July 8th, hopefully it breaks up to the upside. Now, because there's no real news for the stock, most likely what's going to happen is just continue on the upward trend support line and not really do anything, and then maybe even break it potentially. But for the time being, if you look at the MAC line right now, this is the 1 month chart. So this indicates if it's a bearish or bullish movement. Right now, it is optimistic. You could see that reverse in the bars where it became a solid green instead of a light shade of green, and it ticked up as well. Plus, it's curving up to the upside. So technically, in terms of 1 month movement, it is a bullish movement. It is optimistic, and again, it's in the positive. So there is a chance it could break through this downward trend resistance line, or potentially it's just delaying it until it meets July 8th and then goes up to the upside, which is awesome. A quick review of what the levels need to pass, like the 1395, that's going to be extremely difficult just after the 1360 price point, and then the $14 price point, the low $14, extremely literally extremely difficult to pass, unfortunately. And I think it was 1424 after that. But there could be potential good signs if it starts reversing to those levels. Like those, I'll be covering it way more detailed, but those would be solid for sure. In terms of the 1 year movement too, unfortunately for the MAC line right here, in terms of 1 year movement, it is showing a bearish movement and its downside. More of the reason why I thought that we could probably keep going to the downside with the upward trend support line right here. But again, I'll be releasing a way more detailed video on Tuesday or Wednesday, most likely Wednesday. Again, apologize for the delay. Hopefully you liked the video. Hope you found it helpful. If you did, consider dropping a like. It does help with the channel, so thank you so much for that. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask. I'll try to answer them as soon as possible. And if you like videos like this or other financial videos, other stock videos in general, consider subscribing so be notified when I do upload those videos. And that's basically it. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next video. Peace.